Yo, what's up, everyone? So, I'm going to talk about The Defenders, issue number 63, September 1978. I picked this one up at a comic store, and or maybe I bought it from eBay. I'm not sure, but I have been wanting to catch up on Defenders issues, and I've been reviewing quite a good number of them, but and reading a good number of them. But this one was very interesting. As if you look on the cover, you could see quite a few of the superheroes fighting each other. So you may be wondering what the heck is going on. Well, from the last issue, there was a fight between the Incredible Hulk and 7 members of the Defenders, which included Black Goliath, Havoc, Iron Fist, Polaris, Stingray, Tagak, and Torpedo. And this was a very interesting, I guess you could say, during this time, with reading the Defenders, to see how we had two, X-Men related characters. We had Havoc and Polaris, in as part of the Defenders. And Black Goliath is an interesting one, as he worked for Harry Pym, so he definitely has that technology. But yeah, there's a fight that goes on, and I think what I find very interesting in this issue is, they got this fight with the Hulk, and of course, no one's going to beat the Hulk, even with everyone's superpowers combined. It's a little bit difficult, especially during this time. And I think also something that's very common is to see superheroes between the various comic book superhero groups show up on each other's comic books. In this case, we had Iron Man appearing for just 4 panels, and he's just there just to inform the Defenders that on the news, another group of villains known as the Defenders were trying to use the media to make him look like they are the good guys, while the main Defenders are the bad guys. Captain Marvel, both of them actually appear on this issue as well, but um, you know, I think what we saw here is more of like a transfer of power, and Hercules now becoming a key member of the group. Um, so Captain Marvel was really interesting because even though he was nominated for leadership, uh, you know, he doesn't want to be he doesn't want to be part of the group. So he ends up leaving, and she ends up leaving as well. The other Captain Marvel. Um, so in a way, it's a little confusing. Hellcat was a member of the Avengers, but in this case, she is a former member, and she's now a member of the Defenders, and she has her own vehicle and every superhero vehicle and everything, which was a little kind of corny, but how everyone tried to hitch a ride on it. But for the most part, I think what we have here is the group splitting in three. Um, we had let me get this issue right here as I look at it, because it seems like let's see here. Hercules has most of the superheroes. I mean, they pretty much break it up between Hercules, Valkyrie, and Shadowhawk. And while Hercules tends to have most of the key members of the group, including White Tiger, uh, then you have Falcon, who says, he doesn't even want to be part of Nighthawk's team. So it's just really interesting to see. Um, let's see. So Tagak, Polaris, and Marvel Man end up joining with the Nighthawk, including Damon Hellstrom. And so, in a way, you kind of got like the little brief Avengers in here, but Paladin actually quits because he works for pay, not for idealistic altruism. Uh, Yeah, Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel says it's not for them. And pretty much they just split up in three groups. But what I found interesting in this issue is that people do not respect Darkhawk or Nighthawk. I'm sorry. I found that very interesting because later on in the issues, Nighthawk, he seems more of a reputable character, but perhaps in the '70s not so much. So I thought that was very interesting. But yeah, they split up in three groups, go on three different missions, and uh, the villainous defenders include Batroc, Blob, Electro, Sagittarius, and Whirlwind. The Beetle, the Looter, the Plant Man, and Porcupine are also part of the group, but they're kind of quiet. But it's just really interesting to have all these villains and all these characters in one comic book. I think it's part of the the '70s comic books that I've been noticing that I'm going to read them is pretty fun because that's when you had that point of time. I think it happens in the '70s and the '80s with comic books that you get to see all these extra characters from the Marvel universe, and I don't know if we'll ever see them in movie form, but I think that was pretty cool. Other thing that I noticed was that Hercules it's just interesting to see Hercules show off his strength, and including against the Hulk. But really, I don't know how. I think we've seen those battles before, right? Like the Hercules versus the Thor, and Hercules versus Hulk. But yeah, in this issue, uh, they made him seem like a very heroic, strong character, which he is. It's just that he's usually, I don't want to use the word throwaway, but Marvel really hasn't capitalized on Hercules all that much, which is unfortunate. He could be a really a really awesome superhero character, but I don't think they just knew how to use him because you already had Thor, and you had already his comic book series pretty much exploring his lore for many years. Hercules was part of that, but he was not exactly one that was utilized all that much. So, but overall, yeah, this is a pretty cool storyline. I don't want to really reveal all too much, but I will say though that it was a it was an issue that probably when it's from the '70s, you're like, oh, okay, of course. I'm talking about with the superhero buggy that Hellcat is riding, and everyone's hitching a ride. I thought that's kind of a little corny, but it is what it is. And the other one was about, what was it here? It was just when they got to the major fight against the villainous defenders, and of course, the police are not knowing who to arrest, and it's just again probably '70s fun when it comes to Marvel type of comic books, and something you come to expect at that time, and you could also expect it in the '80s and so forth. Uh, I mean, you still see it today, but it's all new characters, right? So, but I look at this and I think about, man, look at all these characters that were utilized in the Marvel universe, and it just made me think, wow, if they were able to, if Marvel was, or Disney was able to really do something with the Defenders, because they did do the Defenders TV series. That was part of that Netflix when they had Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and so forth. But in Iron Fist, but they didn't really fully explore it as much as the Avengers. I mean, you have the Avengers, you have the X-Men, and now you have the Fantastic Four. But I do feel the Defenders is something that really could be capitalized on. But at the same time, you kind of have to figure out how do you make a film consisting of these characters. And with Falcon and the Hulk, I mean, that's something you could bridge over from the Avengers, the MCU, if they wanted to. But again, um, it's just all about. I guess it's all about the Benjamins. You really want heroes that are very popular, that would definitely break the box office and make a lot of money, make a ton of money. I mean, heck, they're redoing Avengers, the second Infinity film, right? So they're going to re-release it in theaters. Um, but yeah, I think that's my thoughts of this after reading this comic book. And it made me think about the kooky '70s type of storyline, which I found fun because there's so many characters in it, good and bad superheroes and supervillains. But also made me think about, wow, could these characters really be explored in a MCU film? Made me think. Okay, everyone, you take care, and I will see you later. Wink, wink, and